Alright gang, welcome back to our vintage survival here in Szpakowo. It is November. Not a ton to do today, if I'm honest with you. We need to do our second application of fertilizer on the fields that we drilled in the last episode. We will take a look at the board there to see what kind of contracts potentially are out there. I have yet to look at that. We'll also take a peek at the used market, see if there's anything out there for us. Highly doubt there will be, but we'll take a look nonetheless. We also may or may not sell our straw bales that we did in the last episode. Not positive that we're going to be selling those today. They're actually not best until the next month, but they're not bad right now. So there's a chance, I guess is how I'll put it, that we may or may not sell those today. Really depends on if there's anything that we find out there in the used market that maybe we potentially want, or anything else for that matter. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully you're all doing well. Things are good here, man. Things are, I feel a hell of a lot better. I'm pretty much done, I think, knock on wood, with everything as far as the sickness goes. So that's good, right? And other news, not really farming related, but, I mean, I guess it could be, depending on, you know, how you want to spin it. I purchased this is real life, I purchased a very small 1.5 gallon barrel, which basically allows me to reimagine bourbons. What does that mean? Well, specifically what it means is I can pour bourbon into it, I can mix multiple bourbons, whatever I want to do, and re-age them into my own version. Very excited about this. They've got multiple different, you know, volumes, I guess, gallon barrels that you can get. I got the smallest one. It's 1.5 gallons. It's not super expensive by any means. It's not necessarily cheap, I would say, but it's not expensive. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see how it goes. I like mixing stuff together. I make my own seasoning for, you know, grilling stuff. I love to grill, so any kind of seasoning mix. I've got I've got 3 different seasoning mixes that I make, and basically it's not really me making the actual seasons. I just take different seasons and mix them together, and I've kind of found a very good complement of each other on 3 different ones, depending on what it is you're grilling, right? So it's kind of a similar setup to that. There's a tiny bit there. We ran out of fertilizer. A tiny bit that probably should be hit. So basically what it does is you fill it up with pretty much with about 5% room for it to kind of expand and, you know, contract and all that stuff. But basically you fill it up with, you know, almost 1.5 gallons of bourbon, whatever you want to do. And then you let it sit there and you age it, just like you would if it was an actual distillery. Now, you can age it for as little or as long as you want, and it's going to obviously change the complexity of the bourbon, you know, depending on how long you leave it in there for. So the first run at this, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'll probably only do it for a year, maybe 2. And then probably the one after that, I'll probably run it for a very, very long time. I kind of want to test it out myself first, and I mean, some people have only put them in there for like 7 to 10 weeks before, which fine, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the approach I want to go with, right? Because the more you continue to utilize it, the less oak and char you're going to get. I have a level 4 char on my barrel, which I like because I like a smoky flavor, so I like that char type of flavor that you get. Nothing in the used market, by the way. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know this is farming, but, you know, there's some distilleries that I have been to. As I mentioned, I live in the Cincinnati area, and Bourbon country is literally right across the border from Cincinnati and Kentucky. I can get to pretty much every big and or any distillery, big bourbon distillery rather, within an hour and a half most. Unless I'm wanting to go to like Maker's Mark or something like that. That's a little bit further away. But most of them are all an hour and a half, maybe 2 at the most away. Four Roses, Woodford, Wild Turkey, Jim Beam, Buffalo Trace, you know, any of those. You name it, they're all an hour and a half away from me. So very much part of our culture, I guess, growing up, or our area here growing up. So I wanted to give it a take on my own. I found a way to kind of make it my own. And the more you use the barrel, obviously, the less, like I mentioned, the less wood, the less oak, and the less char you're going to get. So that's why I'm saying I kind of want to do one for, you know, a year or 2 years just to kind of test it out, and then do one for a lot longer of a period of time. I don't know, something like that. I think it's going to be fun, though. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know why I'm driving this far down to go over here, but whatever. I'm pretty excited about it, and yeah, so it's going to be fun. I don't think there's a way that I could give away a bottle on the channel here. I think YouTube would lose their mind at me if I decided to give away alcohol. So that unfortunately, I would love to utilize that as kind of like a giveaway, but I don't think that's going to work, unfortunately. But yeah, if you ever happen to be in the Cincinnati area or something, then maybe we can meet up, and I can, if I have anything, I can offer one to you or something. Who knows? But anyway, I'm excited about it, so we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on that. Obviously, it's going to be quite a while before you hear anything about it, but I will keep you posted whenever the time comes that it is ready to well, I was going to say ready to harvest, but I guess ready to pour. I don't know. Ready to bottle, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's only 1.5 gallons, so like I said, it's not going to be a ton, but I'll probably get some of, if you've ever been to a distillery before, and if you've ever filled a bottle directly out of the barrel yourself, you know, utilizing a thief, which is what it's called. It's how you take the bourbon out. If you've ever done that, you know, there's multiple size, you know, bottles you can buy. Probably some of the smaller ones, not a full bottle. Something like that is probably what I'm going to end up doing, because I'm sure some of friends, family, all that stuff are going to probably want to at least try it. So yeah, I'm excited, man. It's going to be fun. I'm not really sure what the first concoction I'm going to make yet. Haven't really fully decided what I'm going to do. I'm thinking I'm going to do kind of a good base. What I mean by good base is, like, I'm just going to use this as a pure example. I haven't put anything in it yet. Right now, I had to put water in it, make sure that the actual oak expands, so there's no, you know, leaks or anything like that, because I don't want obviously I don't want the bourbon to leak out. So you put water in it for about 24 to 48 hours to make sure there's no leaks, and it, you know, helps the oak expand in the barrel. So anyway, I think what I probably would end up doing is kind of a good base of, you know, a bourbon that is, you know, a good bourbon but not super expensive. Maybe like Buffalo Trace, and then add like 2 bottles in of something that's a lot more expensive, and mix those together and get a good different variation, right? I'm a big, I think I'm just going to sell the straw, gang. I'm a big proponent of 83 bucks. The best average is 86. It's $3. Do I really care about $3? No. Where are we going for this? Going to a different area. We haven't, we've been down here before, actually. So, you know, something like that I think is the way I'm going to go, right? So maybe I'll put, I don't know, maybe I'll put 2 bottles of Woodford double oaked, and then maybe some Buffalo Trace with it. I'm a big weeded bourbon fan. I understand that what I just mentioned, at least the Woodford is not just a weeded bourbon, but I think that would bring out some unique flavors, right? You already have 2 of them in there that have some heavy oak flavor to it. Then you have your generic Buffalo Trace, which is a fantastic base bourbon. You know, mix them together and see what happens, right? I think it'd be fun, and we'll see. We'll just see what comes up, right? I'll just see what I end up doing. I'll let you know as soon as I put in whatever I decide to do, whatever bourbons I decide to mix together. I'll let you know that too. Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun. You also have the opportunity as the barrel gets older, as I mentioned, right? The barrel, once you utilize it so much, obviously the wood and the char flavor is going to be less because it's, you know, ran its course, I guess. I'm sure there's a chance that I could replace it, right? There's always that option, but I have also found and heard that you can actually put in pieces of wood inside the barrel itself to help infuse it a little bit more. Now, what it does mean is you have less room to put, you know, whoa, how did that happen? You have less room to put, you know, bourbon in there. You've got much less room, but still a way, right? It's a way to continue the prolong the length, I guess, of the barrel. And I also could, you know, it's not like it's just bourbon. I can do other things too. This thing is going to fall off again. This is not working very well, is it? Shut up. Yelling at me now. Just blaring the horn. You're a dick. Walter. Dickhead. You know, so there's ways to prolong it, right? But we also could take it, and it's not just specifically for bourbon. I can, just like they do in real life, I can take it. Maybe if I want to put some wine in there, I can do it with wine. Maybe I want to put bourbon in there, or beer in there. I can put beer in there. You know, so there's multiple things we can do. So I'm pretty excited about it. We'll see. I know this is farming, but, you know, there's distillers that I have been to where they literally use their own harvest, you know, the rye and the malt and all that stuff to make their bourbon, right? So that's something interesting to share with you guys. But, you know, if you don't care, I guess, sorry, I wasted a few minutes of your time talking about it. But at least we are doing farming in the same time in the process, right? So I'll sell this one barrel. I'm talking about barrels now. I got barrels in the mind. I'll sell this one bale of straw. I think I'm going to keep the other one for the time being, because this has just been brutal to take this. And here we go. He's going to blare the horn at me again. Go ahead. There it is. See? Blaring the horn again. Freaking dickhead. So, we can just sell the next one in December or whatever, right? There's a chance that maybe we even skip the December in this month. Who knows? Because that's, you know, that's not against the rules here. We're not doing a challenge or anything. This is just, we're having a good time playing in old equipment. Because I'm a big fan, a big proponent of old equipment. $749. Is it as good as I was hoping for? No. But it's not bad. I mean, that paid for half of the fertilizer that we purchased, right? And we're going to utilize that fertilizer for sure for something else, right? One way or another. Do I have those on? I thought I had those off. I do have them off. That's weird. I don't know if you saw. I'm sure you did, but there's a icon there, which I normally have all the icons off because I don't like them on. So let's put it on the cruise control here. Hopefully we don't run into anybody. I just want to see what we got out here. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff out there. Is it all for us? I don't know. Probably not, but we'll take a look when we get back to the yard, so I will see you there. All right, well, as I'm sure you can clearly tell in the top corner there, we are going to be doing some harvesting contracts. They're not very big harvesting contracts, if I'm honest with you. They're very, very small, but it will provide us with makes no difference, $2,000 in profit from doing these, so that's good. I'm going to move this out of the way because they are corn. I think they're both corn. At least one of them's corn. The other one might be sunflowers, but I think they're both corn harvest. So we've got a full pile of eggs as well. I don't think eggs are best in November. I could be incorrect in that statement, though, so we will take a look at that as well. We might be selling those if it is the best time, because right now we don't have any other purpose for the eggs other than selling them. I would love that eventually at some point to turn the eggs into something else here on the farm, but we're clearly nowhere near that stage yet, so it's a future stage for sure, hopefully. Alright, so harvesting a field 82 and 91. 82 and 91. They are both right next to each other, and we are taking them both to the same spot, it looks like, which is even better, right? Yeah, they are both going to the zoo. The Hendrix SP ZOOO. ZOO. Whatever. I'm just going to call it the zoo from now on. Now, one of these fields is one that we had initially thought about. It was at least on our list to think about potentially purchasing. We obviously did not do that. So it'll be good to harvest it, right? Check it out, all that good stuff. I'm going to see if the worker did, or the guy that owned the field over here, we talked about in the last episode, if you recall, potentially buying this other field over here and making this, combining this field here that we drilled and this field together. Looks like he just plowed it. He did not put anything into it, so we'll keep an eye on it, though. Maybe we purchase it in the next harvest, potentially, or the next time that it's ready to harvest, something like that. Yeah, both of these fields are corn. I mean, I don't have access. I absolutely 1000% have access. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to turn the steer... We cannot turn the steering assist on. We are in the Vintage Survival Series, Z. Whoops. I told you at some point down the road I was going to make that mistake. It's really because I literally just finished doing an episode for the one-tile challenge, so I had that in my head, I'm sure. But at least I caught myself before I did it, because somebody would have been yelling at me in the comments. You weren't supposed to be doing that. You said you weren't going to use GPS. You weren't going to be using steering assist. You're right, I did. That was one of the main rules of this series. Now, in case you stumbled across this for whatever reason and you're like, what is he talking about? Why is he not allowed to utilize that? Well, you know, we're doing a vintage survival, right? And our vintage survival rules specifically state that they have to be from 1999 or older. Now, were there some items? Were there some equipment that had some basic GPS at that point? Yes, there were. All of you are correct in those statements. There were. However, I would argue that 90+% did not have any form of GPS. And if we get into this, there is no GPS in here at all. None, right? Get off the worker, get off the worker. So, I mean, just going inside of whatever it is that you're utilizing is, you know, a sure answer to did this have GPS or not, or, you know, anything on the top. It would have a big, massive GPS dome, basically, I guess, on the top if it did have it from the 90s. So, long story short, none of the equipment we currently own has the ability for a GPS, so it doesn't matter, right? Now, the game allows you to do it because, you know, that's one of the features in the game. But we're not going off of what the game allows you to do. We're going off of the time period. Did the time period have a GPS? Yes or no? And like I said, probably more than 9 times out of 10. We're just going to utilize that as an example. 9 times out of 10, or slightly over 9 times out of 10, it did not. But that's okay, right? For me, that's okay. This is a very weird field right here. It's actually perfectly fine for me to not utilize it. So I play on console, in case you do not know, you stumbled across this. Specifically, I'm on Series X, Xbox Series X. And we never had the luxury of having any kind of course play, steering assist, anything of that sort. So I've pretty much always had to do my farming simulator this way until FS25, right? So for me, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm starting to get used to it now. It's starting to become a luxury. So as you saw, I was ready to jump into it in this series when I wasn't supposed to. So I'm starting to get used to it, but you know, it really still, in my opinion, is not that big of a deal for me to do it this way. I know early on I was not utilizing it even at all because I'm just so used to not. And people were yelling at me in the comments. It wasn't on this series. It was another series. I think it was the... I think it was the Farm Maze series, maybe. I don't remember what series it was. But anyway, they were yelling at me early on in FS25. Why aren't you using steering assist? Well, mostly it's because I was just so used to not utilizing steering assist. But it definitely has its purposes, right? It definitely is a bonus. It's definitely a plus. It's definitely a increase to the fluidity of the game itself. It certainly matters, in my opinion, more than anything when we're doing stuff like fertilizing. Absolutely helps you with making sure you're not wasting fertilizer. You know, if you're harvesting, I mean, really all it's doing is saving you a little bit of time, right? Which means I have to go back and, you know, hit stuff again where I, you know, could have been a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Could have been a little bit more... I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Why am I blanking on the word? You probably all know what it is. You probably already mentioned it in the comments. I don't know. I'll think of it in a second. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is I could have been more... This isn't the word I'm looking for, but I'm just gonna utilize it. It streamlines things a little bit easier, a little bit better, right? It's not really the word I was thinking of or looking for, but it will work. It gets the point across. What else can we talk about? One tile challenge. Finished an episode of that just recently. I mentioned, I know recently, that I think we'll probably be done with that series somewhere in mid-August. It might be slightly later than that. I don't know what I was thinking, but we still have a lot more of the loan to pay off than I actually thought we did. So it might be another year of the one tile challenge, which means, you know, past where we are right now, another probably 12 episodes, but it may not be that many, it may be less, who knows. So, but still, somewhere in August it's going to end. It will somewhere in August end, for sure. We're not that far off. I keep modifying and changing things, which is kind of delaying us and pushing us behind. I get that. But it's stuff that I wanted to do, right? And as I continue to expand and build that series, you know, more and more things come to fruition that I would like to move. I think they're better, you know, in a better location somewhere else. When you put them down initially, right, it was where it was best for business, I guess is how I'll put it then. But, you know, as you move along, that doesn't necessarily mean that's always going to be the case, right? It's hard to kind of plan out and figure out where things are going to be that early on, I guess is how I'll put it, right? So anyway, we are underway here with the corn. We've got a decent amount already done. There is still a lot to go. Obviously, our header is not that big. We would love to have a larger header than this, especially since we're not getting a ton of money out of doing these. But it's something, right? It's something. We're going to get just under $2,000, right? So there'll probably be a little bit of this corn as well that hopefully we'll be able to kind of keep and put it into our storage, right? Into our silo. Would love to be able to do that, so that way we can sell that when it's best to sell it and make a little bit of extra money in the process, right? That's really what these harvesting contracts are about, is can you stop the selling fast enough so then you can just store it and, you know, make more money from it, from the contract itself in the long run. Kind of hard to do on these smaller ones because most of it's going to be sold for the contract, and you're only going to have a little bit remaining. They always give you a little bit of extra, a little bit of excess, which is nice. Not complaining about that at all, but it is very difficult to stop it when there's only a couple hundred or 1,000 liters, whatever it is, that you're going to get as a bonus. We are going to need to unload here soon. I may or may... yeah, I probably will put this on a worker here. Actually, I'm just going to put it on a worker right now. The worker's probably going to go somewhere that I don't want him to go, but that's fine. I don't want you to work the headlands. Let's see what the worker decides to do here. Alright, well, you know what? Let's let him do whatever he wants to do. It's fine. Alright, we're going to unload that, or unhook that. We'll go grab the trailer, which... there it is. I don't know why I was looking for it. I don't know why I was lost on where the trailer was. It's in the same spot it's always been in. So we're going to utilize probably the worker and myself a lot here as we carry on. But let's get to work. Let's get this done. And see what kind of crop, what kind of amount of crop, volume of crop we're going to be able to actually keep for ourselves here. All right, well, that took quite a while, but we are done, and as you saw, it's almost impossible to stop putting all the corn in here. So we ended up just selling the 18 liters that I was able to stop in the last one. I'll try to do better this time. I don't think I'm going to do any better, though, honestly, when there's only 4,194 liters here. 552 liters. Well, I mean, it's not perfect, but we'll keep it. We sold 271 of it. That's fine. Also, there is a back entrance right here, which is what I was trying to find when I was over there, but I did not realize that it actually ends up being way over there, so it really wasn't. So I kind of went on a wild goose chase and partially drove into the neighbor's field there, sorry. But, yeah, we ended up figuring it out. We just had to come back and go the normal way, so it is what it is. So anyway, that's done. One other thing I want to potentially look into, I don't know if I have anything installed. I might have to go out in ModHub and look. A lot of people have been yelling at me about this on both series, this series and the One Tile Challenge series, and you're right, and I hate it too, and I just haven't done it for whatever reason. There's been lots of other things on our mind. We need to get some kind of a power washer. Our equipment is dirty. It needs to be cleaned badly on both series, so I'm going to look and see if I can find anything that resembles 1999 or older here for this series, and we'll try to put that down today if we can find something. I really don't know. I don't want to put down the big massive power washer that kind of comes with the base game, because that is way too new and would look way out of place. So we don't want to do that. But maybe I'll find something. Maybe if I can just find a water hose that's hooked into the ground, something so basic as that. Maybe that would do the trick. I don't know. But first we'll go unload the small amount of corn that I was able to save here. Gonna have to realign that. That was terrible, Z. Way to go, buddy. Embarrassing yourself. Did it again. Okay, so do a quick autosave. Let's turn these contracts in first of all. Gain a little bit of money from it. More contracts have popped out. A lot larger contracts for that matter. Not something I'm interested in doing right now, because we just did 2 of those and it took a lot longer than it should have, and it's mostly just because of the size of our header. We need a bigger one for sure. Alright, so we'll unhook that for the time being. I'll just park that there for now. Let me see. Is there anything that I have installed? I don't even know. Honestly, gang, I don't even know. I don't think I do. A wash chute. 5 grand. I mean, that maybe. I mean, I don't know. Probably not, but maybe. Yeah, I don't have anything installed, unfortunately. This is... That's too new. We can't use that. Let me run on ModHub really quick. Let me see if I can find anything, and if I do, we'll install it, and then we'll have something to wash our equipment off with. Okay, so I found something, gang. It's probably pushing the limit, but I would argue that it probably is from the 90s-ish. I mean, it's just a basic engine, right? There's nothing crazy here, so maybe it's a little bit too new, maybe it's not, I don't know, but this is going to be the best thing I can find. The problem with it is, it's expensive, first of all, so we spent a bunch of money on this, and it actually is a vehicle, so if I want to, like, take this back to the farm, I mean, I can only go 4 miles per hour, it's going to take me an absolute eternity, so I think what I'm going to do instead is kind of leave this up here at the shop itself. I think that's what I'm going to do. And just kind of, even though I paid for it, we can kind of say that it's, you know, part of the shop, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully this works. Hopefully nobody's screaming at me in the comments, that's way too new. Because it might be, I don't know. But it's close. We can utilize the, it's a prototype type of effect, right? We can say that. Starting to get some damage on it. So we definitely probably need to do some service to this soon. Evidently there's a tornado coming soon, which I think is a little weird. Man, that cleaned that thing right up. It looks so much better. Yeah, it looks so much better. Alright, well, gang, we're going to leave the episode at that point. It ended up being a little bit longer than I actually thought it was going to be. It took us a long time to do both of those harvests. It took us an eternity, actually, to do both of those harvests. And that's just based off the size of the header that we had and just the speed, right? We can only go 4 miles per hour, which is very slow. So, but that was all right. It was worth it. We got a lot of stuff done. We've now got a power sprayer, too, so we can make sure our equipment's clean. We'll just have to, whenever we take them or go by the shop, we'll just have to take a pit stop up there every once in a while and make sure we clean our equipment off. I'll get the harvester back. I'll probably power wash the harvester, too, on the way back because it's literally right next to it. Or maybe I'll start the next episode with the power washing. I don't know. Either way, I'll get the harvester back one way or another, and we're gonna leave the episode at this point. If you made it this far in and you have yet to do so, make sure you smash the like and the subscribe button for me. Both those things are free to do, and they help me out absolute ton. Thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, as always, let me know down below. I'm happy to get back to you on any of those. Members link is down below. I want to thank all of my members. Thank you so very much for your continued support. Discord's down there. Completely free to join the Discord if you're interested in that. Share your updates on any of the progress of any of your series you're doing, as well as just chat about whatever you want in there as well. Once again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your continued support. We'll see you next time.